coming, that a month later his congressional career in all likelihood would be ended by a Tea Party challenger right there in his home district. Maybe we should have all known then when we heard him basically get booed off the podium. But we didn't see it coming then. And if we had, everybody's jaws would not be hanging open all over Washington and all over the country right now. Joining us now is our friend John Stanton, Washington bureau chief for BuzzFeed. John, thanks for being here. It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you.
So Eric Cantor obviously is not just a huge player in Congress. He's the guy who runs the show on the Republican side. He makes the decisions about what they do and what they don't, as much as John Boehner does. What does this do to Republicans in Congress for him to have poofed unexpectedly tonight?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest news out of this thing, frankly. I mean, other than just him losing, is that, you know, immigration was a big issue at the end of this thing. I'm not quite sure that he actually lost an immigration, and I think it may have been more that he took this not very seriously to the last second. But what it has to do with immigration and any other kind of a bill that Barack Obama might be supporting or might be signed by Barack Obama, I think will have long-term repercussions for the next couple of years, because he's no longer going to be able to marshal, I think, the troops to vote for spending bills, potentially, certainly for things like immigration, any kind of major reforms to federal law or new policies that either side might want to do. Because I think all of his members are going to look at his election and say, this is terrifying. We do not want to be Eric Cantor. If he can lose, the guy that everyone sort of looked to as, you know, one of the most politically acumen, you know, members of the House, they're not going to want to do anything. Remember, he started the Young Guns with Kevin McCarthy, which really brought the Republicans back into power. And so I think all of those members are going to look at this and say, if the guy that got me here can lose, why can't I?
In terms of how the Republicans fill his shoes and what happens to the Republican leadership, obviously most of the reporting and wondering about Republican leadership has been focused on how long John Boehner wants to stay Speaker. When's he going to step down so Eric Cantor can get the job? That's obviously moot at this point. But in terms of who gets Eric Cantor's job and how the leadership gets rearranged, do you think the dynamics in Washington right now are something that, something like we should be looking for somebody who's kind of like Eric Cantor to get that job? Or should we expect a more revolutionary change within the Republican Party where they try to get somebody who's much more hardcore, much more Tea Party into the leadership to reflect this election result?
You know, I'll be honest, I'm not positive. I think that this actually could have bigger repercussions than that. I mean, if Eric Cantor is no longer there because his voters said no to him, I think that is going to embolden a lot of the conservatives in the party when they go into their leadership elections after the November general elections, and they're going to say, maybe we don't want John Boehner. Maybe we can, in fact, get rid of him. This maybe send a signal. And I think all of leadership, if I was in leadership right now, I was Kevin McCarthy, if I was John Boehner or anyone else that is associated with leadership, I'd be very, very worried, not just about who might get his job, but about all of their jobs, because this is the kind of thing that is going to get those people riled up.
John Stanton, Washington bureau chief for BuzzFeed. John, thanks very much for being here. I appreciate it. It's going to be a big night. Appreciate it. All right. Just how big a deal is it that House Majority Leader